you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful, sunny San Diego. And this episode of the Livin the Dream podcast will be an opportunity to test how well you know your health, fitness, and wellness information. I will start by asking a quiz question and giving you a few multiple choice answers. Feel free to pause the episode after I've asked a question if you'd like a little more time to think about the answer. Once the correct answer is given, I'll dive a little deeper into the topic, offering more information along with some tangible and actionable items, suggestions, ideas, recommendations, anything on how we can use this information to live a happier, healthier, more fit and long lifespan. Keep track of how many you get right, and feel free to share your score with me and your network once you've completed the quiz. So if you're ready, let's begin. Quiz question number 1. True or false? When a person's face is underwater, research has shown that heart rate slows and certain blood vessels constrict. True or false? When a person's face is underwater, research has shown that the heart rate slows and certain blood vessels constrict. And the answer is true. Check this out. There's a scientific reason why water is just so calming. When a person's face is underwater, research has shown that the heart rate slows and certain blood vessels constrict. Blood is redistributed from the limbs to the brain, heart, and other central organs. Vagal tone and parasympathetic nervous system activity, both which are associated with the body's rest and digest states, are turned up. So the vagal tone and parasympathetic nervous system activity, rest and digest states, are turned up when a person's face is underwater. At the same time, elements of the sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight response, tends to mellow out. So the sympathetic nervous system mellows out. Researcher Dr. Rolly Russell, who works at the Sandhill Institute for Complexity and Sustainability, he wrote a 2013 annual review paper on the health benefits of time spent in nature. Dr. Russell says that these physiological shifts are known collectively as the human dive response or the dive reflex. Maybe you've heard of the dive reflex. The dive reflex was first observed in marine mammals like seals, and it's thought to help mammals conserve oxygen when underwater. In people, though, the dive reflex is especially pronounced in newborns, nearly all of whom will instinctively hold their breath and whose heart rates will automatically slow when dunked in water. Although I find it a little interesting thinking about how these experiments are done. Who's over here just voluntarily just dunking babies in water? I'm just kidding. I'm sure that it's not what it's like, but that's what I visualize. They even found that just blowing air on a crying infant's face is often enough to trigger the dive reflex, which can calm a baby down. Which now, knowing this information, anytime I'm on a plane with a crying baby, should I just go over to that person and just start blowing in that baby's face? Sounds like a good idea. I don't know. We'll see. I read a really cool article written by Markham Hyde, diving deeper into this topic. And I want to share what he said in that article. He said, "You might think that diving into water, just like peering over a cliff's edge, would provide an adrenaline rush. But it turns out that just the opposite is true. Water submersion has some counterintuitive calming effects. The human dive reflex is so reliable that even ER doctors have used it to treat certain types of heart arrhythmias, including the type that occur during panic attacks. In one study, they triggered this reflex by asking patients to hold their breath and dunk their face into cold water for 15 seconds. Some researchers are exploring this and related water interventions as therapies for conditioning ranging from anxiety to stroke. An interviewee of this article says that much of today's media and technology is compelling because it taps into the brain's arousal-related networks, areas and systems that are evolved to detect novelty and threats, and that are now co-opted to keep a person's attention riveted to a screen. Does that sound familiar? Hashtag the news. Water sounds, crashing waves, a babbling brook, falling rain. These sounds, these tend to have just the opposite characteristics of things like the news. These calming sounds are rhythmic, and they usually build up or dissipate very gradually rather than suddenly, which are qualities that the brain finds inherently soothing. Super interesting, right? I usually meditate at the beach or to sounds of waves. I just love the ocean. I think it was where I was meant to be. So consider that the next time you're looking to relax. All right, moving on to quiz question number 2. Which of the following liquids do you have more in your body? Is it blood, lymph, urine, or tears and sweat? Is it blood, lymph, urine, or tears and sweat? Which of the following liquids do you have more of in your body? And the correct answer is lymph. Lymph. L-Y-M-P-H. According to Dr. Stephen Cabral, we have at least 144,000 man-made toxins in our environment. 144,000. And the average person that we know, even from birth, has over 200 toxins already in their body. That's a scary thought right there. Now, in order for your body to get these toxins removed, it needs a waste management system. And that system is called your lymphatic system. A lot of issues arise when we have poor drainage of this lymphatic system. This is an unbelievable statistic, but there is literally 4 times the amount of liquid in your body directly under your skin than there is blood in your body. 4 times more lymph fluid than blood fluid. The issue with your lymphatic system is it works on a manual pump. Unlike your heart, which is always pumping and pumping and pumping and helping flow the blood to circulate throughout your body, lymph is only going and circulated through movement. So in order for your lymph to move, you have to either be sweating, exercising, walking. You basically need to be moving your body to move your lymph. And this is one of the reasons why massage and dry brushing are so beneficial to helping move that lymph so it can be excreted. What happens when your lymph gets blocked? There isn't a huge warning sign, a flashing warning light that tells you, hey, we need to get some movement here. So how do you know? Well, sign or symptom number 1 of poor drainage is skin rashes or acne or some type of blemish on your skin. So it could be food sensitivities, heavy metals, dehydration. It could be all sorts of things. But when you get this rosacea or psoriasis or eczema or adult-based acne, we need to look at what did you eat? Are you sensitive to that food? Is there some sort of blockage in my lymphatic system? Or is there a hormonal issue? What's going on in your body that your liver cannot process this thing and it starts to get pushed out through the skin? So if you're looking for signs or symptoms of poor drainage, look for any type of skin issues going on. The next system could be up on your head. Do you have large amounts of dandruff or do you get dandruff often? Yes, dandruff is from a dry scalp, but what is causing the imbalance in your skin on your scalp or your skin in general? What's going on there? Well, there are a lot of triggering reasons. It could be something topical, of course, something that's going on it from the outside, but it's not always topical because usually if your body is doing well internally, it can usually take care of the things that are happening externally, topical things. Yeast could be a factor. Mold could be a factor. But whatever it is, your body is not doing a great job of detoxing those issues, and it may start manifesting itself as skin things or dandruff. Another symptom could be another exterior thing. Things like cellulite or spider veins could be a symptom of pore damage. Dr. Cabral says that he sees cellulite being a bigger issue than spider veins, but both could definitely be a sign of bad lymphatic flow. So when you hear about your lymphatic system, it's basically a one-way street. Think of it, a one-way street, all the cars are driving down the same way. Now, in this example, if someone in that street just stopped, what would happen? They completely get out of the way, they're right there on the side, and they put on their hazards. What happens? Well, all the cars behind this vehicle are now stopped. This is how lymphatic system works as well. Everything is starting to get backed up. Everything starts to slow. The lymphatic system moves one way, and it can't help but get locked up if something starts to block it. It can get locked up from lack of movement, from high blood pressure, from stenosis or inflammation. There's just a ton of reasons why it can get blocked up. And you also have to realize your body is constantly taking in stuff. It's constantly taking in from the food you eat, the liquids you drink, the air you breathe, the chemicals that you use in products, the plastics that are in things that we don't even know that they're in. We could go on forever. Even the cells of your body are releasing contents that need to be cleared from your system called metabolic waste. It's really insane to me to think about. And to be honest, I really have a hard time fully wrapping my head around all of it. I would love to learn a lot more about the lymphatic system. It's just a brand new science that's starting to blossom. But think about it. Your body is just one giant filter. Everything you put in it, it has to get out. And your lymphatic system is just the unsung hero that helps you process all of these things. But with all of that scary stuff that we just talked about, do you think I would leave you hanging with no solutions? Not here on the Livin the Dream podcast, no way. Some easy ways to improve your lymphatic flow and help your lymphatic system do what it is designed to do. Well, one of my personal favorite ways is to rebound on a mini trampoline. Yeah, we bought a small trampoline and I use it all the time. I use it after I've eaten big meals just to gently bounce up and down on it. I use it before workouts as a pre-workout activity that gets my body temperature up. And it also helps me with my goal of putting load on tendons and ligaments to help strengthen them. I also do it anytime that I feel like I've ingested way too much or been around some not so good stuff like alcohol or smoke or environmental toxins or stuff like that. There's lots of information out there on the benefits of rebounding, and it's such a cheap and easy thing to do. You buy a small mini trampoline and you have it forever. It lasts forever. Another thing that is really helpful is, of course, regular exercise. When you sweat, you are getting some of that stuff out. I really think that's all that needs to be said about exercise. You know that it's going to be good for you in this sense. Also, hot and cold water treatment, such as showers or hot tubs, or cold pools, or cryotherapy and sauna. Hot helps to dilate blood vessels, make them bigger. And cold constricts. When you do these alternating for rounds, you can really help with flow. Now, you could also try dry brushing, buying one of those big back scratcher looking things that have a brush on the end. I do mine when I'm in the shower. It helps me clean my skin, but it also helps me to massage all the skin everywhere, to manually move the fluid that's underneath my skin, lymph. Always dry brush toward the center of your body, toward the heart. Obviously, drinking clean water and eating good foods that promote lymph flow will really be helpful. Foods that help lymph flow are things like green leafy veggies, cruciferous veggies, berries, omega-3s, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices like turmeric, ginger, and garlic, and extra virgin olive oil. Those are just some examples of lymph flow promoting foods. And then even things like deep belly breathing. If you can expand your entire thorax with a big breath and then you can constrict it all as you exhale, that is going to be moving everything from your organs to your blood to all that stuff on the inside. Big, deep belly breathing and not wearing super tight fitting clothes all the time. Those things can help with your flow. Whew, that's a lot on lymph. You might even not have even heard of lymph before this, so I know that was a lot. That's just a little preview. There's a lot more to come on the topic of lymph, I promise. Okay, moving on. Quiz question number 3. When sprinting for 1 minute, which energy source are you mostly burning to fuel that activity? When sprinting for 1 minute, which energy source are you mostly burning to fuel that activity? Is it protein, fat, carbohydrate, or coffee? Protein, fat, carbohydrate, or coffee. What energy source, when you're sprinting for 1 minute, are you mostly using to burn for fuel? And the correct answer is carbohydrate. That's right, carbs. Carbohydrates are the primary fuel source that the body uses to provide energy when sprinting for a short duration. The body has 3 main fuel sources available to get energy from when exercising: carbs, proteins, fats, some would argue alcohols. Protein is not used much as an energy source. Protein is not used much. It's simply not efficiently mobilized to provide energy to the body. Your body does not really want to use this as a source of fuel. That leaves carbs and fats. That's right, carbs and fats for the body's preferred energy stores. During low intensity exercise, walking, light jogging, going on a tweet rant, going on a nice mellow hike, stuff like that. When going on low intensity exercise, your body uses primarily fat for the energies needed. So fat for low intensity. When the intensity of the exercise increases, think higher risk or higher intensity, like sprinting or doing a set of really heavy squats for 10 reps. When doing these activities, your body gets most of the energy from stored carbohydrates. And this is in the body, referred to as glycogen. Glycogen is mostly found in your muscle and your liver. Also in small amounts in the brain, the heart, the kidney, and even in adipose tissue stores, but mostly in muscle and liver. But when you're doing light exercise, low intensity, the body is fueling that activity with predominantly fat stores. Now you might be thinking, oh, okay, I have fat that I want to lose, so that means that all I have to do is light, lower intensity exercise, right? A plus B equals C. But here's the thing. It's really important to note that when you do light exercise, you are not burning very many total calories. And this is important. I'll come back to that in just a second. So when you're doing high intense exercise, the body is fueling with predominantly carbohydrates. And it is important to know that when you do heavier, higher intensity exercise, you are burning more total calories. But you may not be able to do this for very long without getting extremely tired and out of breath and fatigued. So let's put all this information all together. Low intensity exercise burns a higher percentage of fats compared to carbs, but at a total lower calorie amount. If I did 100 calories worth of low intensity exercise, I would burn up to 70% of those calories in fat. So 70 total calories out of 100 calories. That's pretty good. Only 30 calories came from carbs. But if I do a high intensity exercise, instead of burning 100, maybe I burn 400. Maybe I'm only getting 30% of fat out of that 400, but that's still 120 calories, which is almost double what the fat burned in the low intensity exercise. So don't get fooled by the numbers here. Total energy expenditure is still really important when it comes to your fat loss goals. Which begs the question, you might be asking yourself, okay, so what type of cardio exercise is the best for fat loss? My answer to this question probably won't be what you expect. My answer is, what is the thing that you enjoy doing the most? Do you hate running? Then don't run. You're never going to stick to it long term. Do you enjoy riding a bike? Then do that. Do you enjoy long, slow walks on the beach? Then do that. Whatever you enjoy doing for exercise, you'll be more likely to stick to. And that is what really will dictate weight loss success more than anything. Consistency over a long period of time and perseverance, that's the right answer. A lot of my clients that start their journey, we start them off by finding an awareness of about how many calories they're consuming, eating a day. The really type A clients always ask me, okay, well, you haven't given me a calorie limit. You haven't told me how many carbs or fats to eat. Like, what are we even doing here? And I explain to them, we have to figure out your baseline. What are you currently doing right now that has gotten you to where you are right now? We can't just put a destination in your GPS without first knowing where you're at. There's going to be no roadmap without a starting position. So once we get your starting position about how many calories you're eating to get you to what you're at right now, that's when I usually give them a calorie range to shoot for and a protein goal to shoot for. And this is depending on their goal. If they're looking to gain mass, you're going to do something different than if they're looking to lose body fat. And that always leads them to ask, okay, so then how many carbs or how many fats should I be eating? You gave me a protein goal, but how many carbs and fats should I be eating? And my answer is to this: your calorie range and your protein budget are the most important factors here. First, figure out how you're going to hit your protein goal. And then once you have that figured out, you can allocate the rest of your calories to carbs and fats with whatever way you prefer. Which way do you feel better? Try it for 1 week one way, and then the other way to see and record how you feel. And usually that answer doesn't satisfy them. I always say, okay, when we're fueling, we want to fuel for the types of activities that we do the most. If you're a person that loves slow, low intensity, long walks, lots of steps per day, hiking, you're on your feet a lot for work, just low intensity, lots of long, drawn out activity, then for that low intensity lifestyle, you're probably going to want to allocate a higher percentage of your remaining calories to fat. Fat fuels that low intensity. Nice, good quality avocados, eggs, fatty fish, nuts, chia seeds, extra virgin olive oil, even things like dark chocolate in small amounts. These should be the foods that you put into your diet to fuel for your low intensity lifestyle. On the other side, if you're a cortisol junkie and you're loving 5 to 7 days a week of your high intensity group fitness workouts, you lean towards power movements instead of low intensity, then you're probably going to want to allocate your remaining calories more towards carbohydrates. Carbohydrates fuel the higher intensity lifestyle. So foods like sweet potatoes, rice, quinoa, veggies, fruits, legumes, regular potatoes, depending on how you tolerate those food items, of course. No body is the same. No lifestyle is the same. And the way you respond to that lifestyle is not the same as someone else. You have to explore what works best for your lifestyle. If your goal is to fuel for performance, track your food for 1 week. Eat normally. Don't change anything. Weigh yourself and measure your inches every day. After a week, see what your daily average calories is doing to your weight and to your inches. If you're getting bigger, you're eating more than you're burning. If you're staying the same, you're eating the same as you're burning. If you're getting smaller, yes, you're eating less than you're burning. Once you have that number, you now have your calorie budget. Where are you? Where did you want to be? Okay, well, increase or decrease slowly by a couple hundred calories on average a day. Make sure you're hitting up to your body weight in pounds and protein. Meaning if I'm 150 pounds, I'm going to try to get anywhere between at least 100, but 150 grams of protein a day. If I can hit that protein goal and I can hit that range, then all I have to do is allocate the rest to carbs and fats depending on my preferred physical activity. Is it low intensity or high? Do this over time and over long enough, and you'll figure out some really cool things about yourself and your body. If your hunger or your mood or your cravings or your sleep are negatively affected, hunger, mood, cravings, sleep, if you're stressing your body too much with low calories, well then bump it up with whole foods, less liquid calories, more nutrient-dense foods, veggies, salmon, potatoes, blueberries, eggs. See how many plant colors that you think you can get in 1 day or 1 week, and try to beat yourself every week. And if you do these things, you'll be just fine. All right, moving on. Quiz question number 4. True or false? Your blood sugar is solely impacted by the food you consume. Food is what controls your blood sugar levels. True or false? Your blood sugar is solely impacted by the food you consume. Food is what controls your blood sugar levels. And the correct answer is false. Of course, food is a huge contributor to your blood sugar levels, but there are so many other factors that have an effect on your blood glucose. Even though nutrition is crucial, it's not the only strategy that you can use to help control the level of glucose, the level of sugar in your blood. I'll give you 6 additional tools right now. If you can start with even just one of these tools and practice repetition to build a healthy routine around it, this will help you form habits to change your entire life. So, of course, the first tool that I want to bring up is exercise. When you're active, your muscle takes up glucose immediately, but you don't have to do a billion burpees to boost your metabolic health. Even walking after a meal helps blunt blood sugar spikes. So if you ate a huge meal and you're feeling guilty about it or whatever, if you feel like it didn't match your goals, go for a 10-minute walk and it's going to help with that blood sugar spike. It's also going to help with digestion and then flow like we talked about earlier during question 1. Aim for short bursts of exercise throughout the day to up your physical activity. Exercise helps move glucose out of your bloodstream and into your cells, preferably your muscle cells, which is why doing moderate exercise after eating can help blunt a blood sugar spike. Regular physical activity increase the number of muscle cells, which means that you now have more mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cell that turn glucose into energy. You're creating these little machines in your muscles that are just energy eating up monsters. Yoga, resistance training, HIIT training, and walking all have metabolic benefits. So let's pause right here. If you're in a place where you can, let's all just do 5 squats together right here. Seriously, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of you really did it? But yeah, whatever. Okay, let's move on to the next tool. After exercise is stress. Reducing chronic negative stressors in your life is so important for so many reasons. Chronic negative stress prompts a hormonal response that increases glucose, your blood sugar levels. So tactics like diaphragmatic breathing and meditation can help decrease these levels. Doing deeper work through therapy, through coaching, and other modalities can be helpful in gaining freedom from chronic stress. When stressed, your body may ready itself to fight off a threat by mobilizing ample glucose in your bloodstream for your muscle to use. So if you see a tiger in front of you that's about to jump and pounce on you, your pupils dilate. Your body then puts this huge rush of glucose into your bloodstream so that now you can use it as fuel to either fight or flight. To increase blood glucose, your body releases more adrenaline, more cortisol, and more of a hormone called glucagon. And consequently, your cells become more insulin resistant. These are all stressful things to the body. Stress management in any of the ways that I just said, plus there's many more that can be super helpful. I mean, my strategy in any day that I try to get outside. Nature is such a good de-stressor. I go to Torrey Pines, I walk the beach at sunset, and I use relaxing Brain FM music in my ear. I sit and I use the app Calm to meditate for a few minutes. And then I head home and I start to wind down for my nighttime routine. So stress management, if you're someone that is always just go, stressed, then you're creating these blood sugar spikes without even eating food. The next tool can be used to help blood sugar levels, and that is getting adequate sleep. This should have been number 1, getting adequate sleep. Research shows that sleep quantity and quality are vital for optimal metabolism. Also your insulin sensitivity, which is a good thing, and your glucose variability. Set boundaries around your sleep time no matter how busy you feel. They say the average person should aim for about 7 to 9 hours, but really just do what works best for you. That's my rule number 1 in life. Do what works for you. Figure it out with trial and error and tracking and awareness. Sleep deprivation, so 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night for a week, 6 days, can increase cortisol, which can elevate blood sugar, and that is not a good thing. And that's just 4 to 5 hours a night for 6 days. Just think about how many of us do this for the long term. If you don't get enough quality sleep, you might also produce too much ghrelin, that little gremlin hormone that impacts your appetite and your satiety, how full you feel. Prioritize quality sleep, and I promise you it's going to be a game changer when you do. So when we exercise, when we stress management, when we sleep, that's all good things. But the fourth tool is actually to boost your gut microbiome. Your gut microbiome. This is a new science as well. Your gut microbiome, you have bacteria, you have viruses, and you have fungi that are in you right now. All of these things should be diverse, as it plays a critical role in your metabolic health. According to the American Gut Project, people who eat more than 30 different types of plant foods per week have a healthier and more diverse microbiome, and this is more than those who eat only 10 or fewer plants per week. So please pass the kimchi and the sauerkraut, right? Your gut produces sensor hormones called incretins. These incretins detect incoming food and prompts the body to metabolize it. There's one called glucagon-like peptide, or GLP-1, and this is an incretin that tells the pancreas to release insulin, which is the hormone that lowers blood glucose levels. And it does this by helping glucose get shuttled into cells so that they can be used for energy. So glucagon-like peptide, GLP-1, tells the pancreas to release insulin. Insulin then tells the blood glucose go into the cells so that it can be used for energy. Research suggests that gut microbiota interfere with incretin secretion in people with metabolic health problems. We have a few episodes on the microbiome here that if you'd like to learn more, I have a bunch of other podcasts that I've also saved up for books, so just send me a DM and I can send you the content. So microbiome. A fifth tool that you can use to help control your blood sugar is maybe one that you wouldn't even think about, and that is getting adequate natural light. Getting adequate natural light. That's right, sunlight affects physiological processes via our eyes. Sun goes into our eyes and to a place in the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or the CSM, which is involved in our circadian rhythm, the sleep-wake cycle. These delicate processes can easily be interrupted and mess with our metabolic health. Aim for a dose of sunlight as soon as you can, first thing in the morning. Try to limit your blue light from screens late at night, but really, if you can get sunlight early in the morning, this is a huge bonus. Professor Huberman from Stanford, he says that this is like one of the biggest things that you can do for your health is to get outside, get some sunlight on your eyes right first thing when you wake up. I know a lot of people that actually go outside and they brush their teeth in the morning. I like to drink my coffee on the balcony. So just stack it with something that you do every morning that you can quickly take outside just for a couple of minutes to get the sun rays on your eyeballs and to start that circadian rhythm with the sun. Photoreceptors, or these light-sensitive cells in our eyes, in our retinas, they receive and they react to this particle of sunlight. And then a cascade of events that sends an electrical impulse to the suprachiasmatic nucleus and other parts of the brain. This stimulates parts of the brain to kick off a genetic, hormonal, and neurotransmitter-mediated process that affects the activity of the brain and nearly all the cells in the body. What? This seems like just magic. It seems like Harry Potter stuff right here. Sun, 1 trillion miles away. How far is the sun? These rays of light are light years away. And they travel all the way to the earth and get into our eyeballs. And that then kicks off all this stuff, electrical signals, impulses throughout the entire body. That's a lot for me. But all that I know is that most of us are not getting optimal natural light exposure to properly signal this part of our brain. And the result is not good for our metabolism. Never would we have thought any of that would really have an effect on your blood glucose, right? So get some sunlight. We got to get outside a lot more often. I think a lot of things will change for the better. Let's move on to another tool, and this tool is to reduce your exposure to environmental toxins. The chemicals that you eat, that you breathe, and are exposed to can definitely impact your metabolic health in a massive way, for the good or for the better. There's actually a new classification of environmental toxins called obesogens that is brand new, really. And these are metabolism disrupting chemicals in the environment that scientists say directly increase fat mass in our bodies. So it's pretty new science here. Don't take too much here, but they say that these obesogens are environmental toxins that help us increase fat mass. So we can take steps to reduce this exposure. Obesogens can impair the microbiome. They can alter hormonal control of eating behavior. They can cause gene mutation. They can drive up inflammation and oxidative stress. They can impair our circadian rhythms, and they can affect our hormone function by blocking or activating the hormone receptor and taking that receptor up so other things can't. We're just now learning about these, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot more information on them in the future. But until then, just be aware what kind of shampoos or soaps or lotion that you're constantly rubbing all over your body. Turn those things over and look what's inside of them. What are you washing your clothes and your dishes with? Are you constantly washing and washing and washing with these chemicals? And you know that those things are getting inside of you. So just be aware. What perfumes and air fresheners are you constantly spraying around? What types of deodorants are you putting on one of your body's favorite detoxing areas? I mean, don't get super crazy tinfoil hat about it. There's going to be some stuff that happens, and your body is really good at getting all of that stuff out if you allow it to. But just have an awareness of limiting it and trying to go natural as much as you can, and trying not to compound so many environmental toxins together. Just something to be aware of. So as you can see, it's a lot more than just about the foods that you eat when it comes to what's happening with your blood sugar levels. That's why nutrition is so hard. It doesn't matter if you think you're eating the best foods in the world. If all those other things that we just talked about in your life are out of whack, it's not going to have an effect as that you want. Awareness is key, just like everything. And now you know a little bit more. Use this information to get you closer to where you want to be and to get you closer to your goals. I want to leave you now with a quote from American philosopher John Dewey. And that quote is, "Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself." The more knowledge that we gain and wisdom we earn, the more power we have over our own health and happiness. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. And that's it, my friends, for this week's health quiz. Share the knowledge that you gain with your friends, your family, and let us know how many of the questions that you got right. If you enjoyed this content, it helps a ton if you could post on your social media stories a screenshot of this episode and maybe put one takeaway, one thing that you learned, and make sure that you tag me and share. Tag me at Livin the Dream _podcast or at Coach Damien _SD. And let us know how this episode benefited you. I will be right here with you, working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.